Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm Ellie Hunt from the Market Centre of Oxygen. I'm here today with Tanya and Emma, and we're going to be talking about women in business, why the Market Centre was set up, and self-employed agents versus high street agents. Okay, so Tanya, over to you. Why did you set the Market Centre up?
So why did I set the Market Centre up? In 2019, I was employed in the corporate high street where I'd been for 25 years, and I had an accident. I did a very silly thing. I got kicked in the head by a horse. Don't advise doing that. And it left me, I needed a year out. It took me a while to recover. Obviously, I'd had a brain injury, and it was clear that I was going to struggle in that corporate world. So I decided to leave the corporate world and take a year's break. And at the end of that year, I was like, what do I do now? Mm-hmm. Obviously, I started looking around, deciding what I wanted to do, had a couple of job offers from other corporates, and the thought of going back to doing that corporate management role, I just couldn't face it. I didn't want to do it. The industry had changed somewhat from when I first started, and I didn't want to go back to it. Mm-hmm. So I started exploring different options, and I stumbled across Keller Williams, which was pretty new to the UK, and I stumbled across the way the model was built and agents were building businesses. And the more I looked at it, the more I knew this is what I wanted to do. Yeah. This is what I want. I wanted to make it better for agents predominantly, but also for clients. I wanted to go back to the old school way of doing agency. Yeah. When I first joined the corporate world, it was very much a relationship. The thing that got me into agency was it was relationship based. It was people based. It was all about building relationships. And obviously, as the industry moved on, and I'm showing my age because, 20 odd years later, it became about the shareholders, became about running the business, not about agents and their clients. Mm-hmm. And I knew I wanted to change that and do something different. So I put all my eggs in and started Keller Williams Oxygen. 2 weeks later, COVID hit. That was a little bit frightening, I'm not going to lie. So I've launched my new business. 2 weeks later, we went into our first lockdown. Mm-hmm. But actually, in hindsight, it kind of played in our favour, because what we saw is obviously high streets were shut down, everything was shut down, agents were doing agency from home. Mm-hmm. So it sort of played in our hands a little bit. And at the end of COVID, agents didn't want to go back to being stuck in the office 8 till 6. You must make this many phone calls, you must do this, you must do that. They didn't want to go back to that. Yeah. So it kind of fast forwarded the industry change, I would say. Yeah. So it did play in my favour. At the time, I didn't think so. It was terrifying.
I could imagine.
Unemployed, just launched a new business, and we went into COVID lockdowns. It was scary.
Yeah. Yeah, what a weird time. Yeah. Just generally.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was. And I remember talking to you.
Yeah.
As you were furloughed at the time, I think.
I was, yes.
And I remember talking to you, and we were both like, God, this is so strange.
So strange. One trip out of the house a day
I know.
is literally bonkers. I mean, I can so relate to that because I worked with Tanya.
Yeah.
In the corporate world. We worked together, and a couple of years before COVID, I'd departed from Tanya's company.
Yeah.
I left her. And I went to work in London, and I was still commuting in 3 days a week. And I think that COVID, the furlough period coming out of that, and I think a lot of people did the same. It's just like, I don't know that I want to do that again. I don't know if I can get up at 5:45 for a train in the pitch black and then come home in the dark. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what sparked our conversation, was that post-furlough, going back to work, roles being changed because the nature of things had changed. And I just think I didn't want to do it anymore. And I thought,
I'm not going to lie, I had a hidden agenda.
Yeah, well,
It was all
obviously.
planned.
I want Emma in
I
the
walked straight
business.
into that.
Emma and I'd worked together for many years
Yeah.
before, and obviously, Em's then took a different role. I went a completely different route, but it was always going to be that at some point
I think
we came back together.
We were gonna sort of make that happen.
So yeah, it kind of worked that way. So yeah, so that's how Keller Williams Oxygen was born, and it was born out of me knowing that we could do a better job, and agency didn't have to have a bad reputation, and going back to basic agency. And it's funny because, when you're in that big corporate environment, as you get promoted and your career develops, and you move away, because I started off as an agent on the ground, and then suddenly you're head of and you're looking after 20 odd teams, and and you move quite far away from what you loved and what you were passionate about, that drew you to that as a career. And I always said that at some point I wanted to go back to being an agent. It's what I loved. I loved working with my clients. And, I always tell a story of, I had this amazing client that was one of my first big clients that I brought on, and it was a big property management portfolio. And every year they would send my daughter a £5 summer holiday ice cream money, because those are the sort of relationships you build with your clients back in the day. So I always said I wanted to go back to that, and this was kind of a way of doing that, and also using my experience in helping other people build an agency based on relationships and clients. So it all sort of lent towards where I foresee myself going in the future. So, gone are the days where you wake up on a Monday morning, you're like, oh, I've got to do that travel today, or I've got to do that, or I've got, the
No
run
more
of
trips
the
down
mill.
the M40.
Oh my goodness.
And the Starbucks
And the
visits.
Starbucks at the Beaconsfield services. But I now wake up, and I don't think twice about it being Monday.
You're not dreading
I can't
it.
wait.
It's very different.
So it's been a big change, but definitely one for the better.
I think as well, Tanya's sort of, so when I joined Keller Williams, the market centre was still in its infancy, sort of a year old. You had, I don't know, maybe like 15 agents, part of the group. And it's sort of taken that opportunity to I guess, change the way you work and step out of that corporate kind of the hamster wheel and step off the hamster wheel.
It's very much that, isn't it?
But also to support and help other agents to do the same, because there'll be so many agents out there in the high street system, sort of stuck in that this is how agency is done in the UK, who want to maybe try something different, but they kind of didn't know how,
or don't know that next step.
Exactly. And I think the wonderful thing about the market centre is you've kind of put in place for agents to be able to do that, and providing them with a system and a way that we can share it now with, I think, 80 others as part of our market centre, and change people's lives, not just the agents, but also the people selling their houses and giving them such a better experience.
So that leads on to my next question. So what is the difference then between a self-employed agent, an independent, and a high street agent? What do you offer that's different?
Do you want to take it?
No, I think you're prime for this.
Okay. I think, traditionally with agency, we have a high street office, we have a branch, we have a team of people. And, no surprise, we have a terrible reputation. We're one of the least trusted. But I think the way the industry is set up kind of leans itself towards that. And so the high street, estate agents, we've got this bad reputation because that's the way the industry kind of dictates that it's done. You can have a business model that says, by the way, you're going to do all of this work for maybe 6 months, and then you'll get paid. Like, no one would invest in your business, right? Oh, and by the way, you might get to 6 months and then someone decides,
and then it
all
just
falls through.
Yeah,
I'm good. I actually don't want the house anymore, or I don't want to sell the house anymore. So that drives a volume-based business, because you're going to hedge your bets that, you know, national average at the moment, a third of transactions will fall through. So you'll work off volume, and when you do that, your service level naturally will drop off, because you can't take the capacity. Like, you can't give every single listing, if you've put 20 or 30 a month, 20 a month, you can't give everyone the same attention. And I think the biggest difference when you step out of that is that as a self-employed agent, you don't have to work off that volume. You can really like flip it on its head and come from a client-focused perspective, where you're giving attention to the relationship, not the transaction. You are working with that family or that downsizing couple to actually make sure they get moved.
And so you care about their goal and you know where they
on
want
the point of the relationship.
You actually care.
Yes.
You know,
it's all on.
They're making a big move, and it's a big transaction for them. It's the biggest
It's
thing
their biggest
you do.
asset.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think that's the most forgotten thing in the industry, is we're dealing with
people.
For the majority of sales, their biggest asset. So I think that's the lovely thing about, you know, taking the leap to become a self-employed agent, and being able to actually just focus on a smaller group of people, and you can still be, as we've seen time and time again, incredibly successful with that approach. So yeah, I think COVID's been a big driver for people wanting to do it differently. And
I didn't think so at the time.
No, no, and I have to say, obviously Tanya started it before I left the corporate. So many people, it won't work.
Yeah.
That model doesn't work in the UK. And it's the wonderful thing is that we're actually starting to see now regularly, year on, year out, self-employed agents outperforming their high street counterparts. And it simply is, because it's a better way to do business.
Yeah. I mean, I don't look back and regret a single thing. I mean, it was tough at the beginning.
Of course.
But, and you know, changing that concept, whereas the lovely thing is now, from a client perspective, it's not abnormal to use a bespoke, self-employed, independent type. It's become normal. Whereas when we first started out, it was hard. It was really hard to win instructions against those high street, and that's not saying
big
high
names
street,
as well.
exactly.
Big names that have got a lot of money behind them.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's not to say like the high street agents aren't bad.
No.
It's just we're doing it differently.
You're focusing on a different point. The relationship is key for you guys, and that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I think is really important to reference is, and I've had experience of this. We were talking about this earlier about going to an interview and someone saying to me, like literally referencing what I was wearing. And I'm afraid I'd come out of that corporate world. My wardrobe didn't have any corporate clothes in it. Like, you don't have to wear a suit and a tie to be successful.
Yeah.
But also, you know, the working hours and the specific reference to, you will be here late. You won't be able to pick your kids up from school. And as a working mum, for me, it's like, by the way, guys, you can have a business and have children and make it work and be successful.
Yes.
Like, you can have all of those things. You don't have to sacrifice
On all of those, or some of
your
them,
family
of
life
course.
to be an agent.
It's 2026.
Exactly, right?
Well, that was the other big driver for me.
Yeah.
In my previous role, female directors at that level were few and far between.
Yes.
And it was one of the things that absolutely broke my heart was my youngest daughter mimicked me.
They're good at that.
And
Is it with the mobile phone?
Yeah. She had the mobile phone pretend clamped between her ear and her shoulder and strutted up and down the kitchen.
Yeah, whilst doing
being on the phone.
jobs and
while trying to cook tea. Being on the phone to who was then my boss, who always insisted on phoning at about 7 p.m, which was bedtime, food time, bath time, all of those things happening.
Yes.
So her youngest memories are mum on the phone to...
And it takes that to realise it sometimes, doesn't it? It
and
hits
when she
harder.
mimicked me, it broke my heart. And, you know, my kids would go off to school in the morning, they'd come home, the nanny would make sure that, you know, they were all home and dinner was cooked, and I'd waltz in at the end of the day exhausted. And I really struggled, you know, with a young family. So it was another driver for me, is that flexibility. You don't need to be in the office, and I've always, and Emma will vouch for this, I've always been a big believer in I didn't care if I worked at 10 o'clock at night, but what I did need was that sort of 4, 5, 6 o'clock family time.
Yes.
It didn't bother me that once the kids were in bed that I would do the necessary to finish off what I hadn't finished. Whereas obviously in the corporate world,
that's unheard
that's
of.
just
not allowed.
That's a no. So that flexibility became a really big driver for me. And I realised there's a lot of women in the business. And I use a great example of one of my very, very first agents that joined the market centre was a young mum, and she was working in the high street as a lettings agent, and literally was coming home with about £200 at the end of the month by the time she'd paid for all her childcare and after school clubs, and, you know, and it was like, why am I doing this?
What's the point? Yeah.
So we worked out that all she'd need to do was one sale a month, average fee £3,000 to £4,000, and she'd be in a much better place. And I remember her saying to me, a couple of years on, she'd built a great business for herself. A couple of years on, you know, T, you've changed my life by doing this, because I take my own children to school. I then go and I've got my head down, I work. And that doesn't mean she's not working hard, she works. And then she picks her own children up from school. She does their homework with them, cooks their dinner, puts them to bed. She might finish off what work she hasn't finished that she needs to do before the next day. No childcare costs, and she's present. She's a mum, she's present, and yet she's building herself a really smart business. And she sent me a message when they were on holiday as a family saying, 1, I could never have afforded to do this. 2, you've literally changed mine and my kids' lives.
I think that's so
I
lovely.
haven't done that. She's done that because she's the one that's built that, but we've just provided a platform for her to be able to do that. And it's those moments.
Oh, it's so nice.
So rewarding.
It really is, like seeing
And your
people...
journey, you know, you're a young mum with a young daughter, and how you've developed. I mean, talk about that.
I was in corporate, got furloughed, weird time, but also kind of great. Like, got paid and didn't do any work. I mean, so, you know, went and rode my horse every day for my one trip out. But you know, I knew when that happened, I can't keep on this like corporate journey where you're kind of just one of a number, and you're pretty much indispensable, like
waiting for burnout almost. It's that kind of
exactly
working.
So then Tanya and I obviously started talking, and I got introduced to Keller Williams. And at the time, for the corporate, I'd been in an operational role, so I spoke to Tanya about doing that basically, and
which we needed at the time.
Yes. Yes.
We've grown exponentially, and it was
there
help.
There were more agents and only Tanya.
Yes.
So I sort of moved across to Keller Williams and took that operational role, and we kind of built the market centre up from there, and we grew in agents and giving everyone this platform, but also helping them weekly, like the support side of it, because it is daunting.
Yes.
Let's not dress it up. Like stepping out from a regular pay packet
and that's
to
massive,
going potentially a few months if you're not bringing a pipeline with you. It's really daunting. But providing that support platform for agents to really build a business and help them from how do I even register my company, to planning for the next 3 years, next 5 years, seeing them grow. And so I did that for 4 years.
Yeah.
I think 4 years. And like literally it's a blueprint of how to build your own agency. And I started thinking,
I'm good at this.
By then you'd had Izzy and...
Yeah, so I had my daughter Izzy, had a year out. Maybe that was a long year for you.
That was hell.
Yeah. But so came back to work and started to think, well, actually, it would be quite great if I could, there's an opportunity in where I live. But also I'm passionate about showing my daughter that you can be a woman, you can be successful, you can be a businesswoman, you can have children, and you can still have the life that you want if you're willing to work hard, right? So it's that role model piece. So I was thinking, hang on a minute, I'm sort of coaching agents week in, week out, like the consistency piece, the lead generate, all of this stuff. Well, maybe I'll do this for myself. So I started.
Yes.
And a couple of months ago, I sort of transitioned and became an agent full time.
Very exciting.
Which has been amazing, like really great.
Very good at it, might I add.
Yes.
Wouldn't have been able to do it without the support system in place that Keller Williams at the Market Centre has, because there's a very structured way of joining, and my joining journey is different. I've coached it, I kind of know what I need to do, but there's always someone at the end of the phone. There's a network of 80 incredible agents. We have, regular in-person stuff that goes on, and that whilst you're your own business, everybody else in the network's kind of rooting for you and supporting you, which is just lovely, because every pitfall that you feel that you fall into, or every downturn that you might right, we all go through it.
Yes.
So to have a great network of people to be able to call up and say, oh, I'm feeling it a bit this month, or you can rely on them, you can and they can relate, which is really nice, and give, oh, this really helped me to overcome that, or have you thought about this? And that's the wonderful thing. It's like you might be self-employed, but you are part of a bigger group.
Yes. All going in the same direction.
Yeah, exactly. Of really
that was
like-minded
the other driver
people.
For me, is to have a community, and because I'm running my own business, like all the agents are running their own business. So having a community of like-minded agents, and if an agent joins and they're off culture dramatically, we don't keep them within the Market Centre, because I'm a real stickler for building a community of like-minded, honesty, integrity, those key factors that we all hope that we live by. And what we've seen by building that is the community of agents are so uplifting to each other.
That's so important. So important.
And it's a lovely, so yes, you're running your own business,
Yes.
but you're not out there on your own.
No.
You have a network of agents that are literally all vouching for you and supporting, and the referrals that go on between the agents, it's a complete pleasure.
Good.
To work with people that are like-minded and want this community of support and help, and there's always someone there who knows. If you've got a random question, I mean, we had a really good example of that where shared ownership.
Yeah.
Now, shared ownership is not something that I'd ever dealt with in my previous life, and one of the agents was like, oh, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
And they all have a big WhatsApp group and put it out. And one of the other agents was like, I used to do that in my previous role for a big, well-known builders. Let me know
And
what
that's
you
it,
need,
you're
mate.
taking on
I
all of
can tell
their
you everything you
knowledge.
need to know about
Yes.
it. And supported the other agent through that. No money was exchanged hands. No, it was
Yes.
lifting the other agent and
Yes.
supporting them.
And that's
for
amazing.
me, that is,
That's almost the culture you've made.
yeah. It's and that's really important to why Oxygen is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talking about women in business, have you got a large percentage of your agents that are women?
I wouldn't say it's large, but we're probably more than most.
Okay.
And it's encouraging other women to do this, like mums returning to work, where
Yes, that flexibility.
having that flexibility where they can work around their priorities in life, because let's be honest, family always comes first. Family should always be number one.
Yes.
And then your business thereafter. So it's having that flexibility and adaptability. I think the key things there are, this is not a model that you can just walk into and expect to earn money.
No. Yes.
You have to work hard. You have to be consistent, tenacious.
Yes. Take on the support, take on the advice.
Lean into to the network, lean into everything. What you put in, you are going to get out. But what you have got is flexibility. You can always put your family first. Gone are the days where you worry about, can I go to the school play?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had that this Christmas just gone.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my gosh, there's a little nativity.
Oh.
Not that she's old enough,
Yeah.
but she'll stand there and I'll go and see her. But just to be
That's
able
such
to...
a precious moment though, isn't it?
Right?
Yeah.
To have that experience.
Don't miss those moments.
No.
Yes.
And,
And
they-
children are sick. Children are
Exactly.
children.
Yes.
So to have that
we
flexibility.
all feel that pain. One of the things I think is great is, we are encouraging more women to come into business.
Yes.
Because of this very reason, like you can have a family and you can build a business and like Tanya says, it's hard work. I wouldn't sit here and dress it up.
Yes.
You do have to be incredibly thick-skinned and relentless in pursuit of,
Especially at the start.
Yes, and it does get easier, right? But the great thing is, most of your clients have families and work a job.
Yes.
So most of them, if you're trying to call them at 3:00 in the afternoon, a lot of people aren't actually around to take
school
calls.
pick up
Yes.
all the time.
Everyone's doing the same.
Exactly, we're all doing the same. So
Yes.
it's okay to take that time out in the day and go and do that. And I've known agents who've done deals at 11 p.m. at night, because that's the only time that actually anyone's available to kind of talk about it, because they're not at work, they're not commuting, they're not picking up the kids, they're probably thinking about going to bed. 11 o'clock's too late for me, I don't know. I'd be in bed. But it has happened, and I think that's the lovely thing about it, is that
flexibility.
you've got that flexibility.
Well, interestingly enough, your latest valuation, you got called in because you were a woman.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, and actually in my area there are a lot of male agents, and they're not bad agents,
Yeah.
but I went to see someone about their house, and the first thing she said was, I've called you because you're a woman.
Yes.
And I think that we need more of that in our industry. Like women
Women are very good at being agents, naturally. Very, very
People.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
and on an empathy level, I think, as well. Like we're just
Absolutely.
probably more naturally empathetic. I don't want to get down a tunnel where I'm like
careful.
man versus woman.
Generalising, obviously.
But yeah, I think it's important that you don't have to be incredibly experienced in agency to make this work. Like my role was operational, but I'd been coaching people on building it and the activities, and if you've got the knowledge, you can absolutely put that into practice. So I would just encourage anyone who's like, actually, I think I don't want to be in the office till 6:30. And I get enormous pleasure from now building my business and being like, hey, guess what? I don't have to be in the office till 6:30, and I don't have to miss my kids' events. And
it's probably my biggest, as much as I had a fantastic career and I loved my journey in corporate at the time, my biggest regret, I try to live life without regrets, but I feel sad that my kids definitely didn't get the best of me because of that role. And my boss at the time was a female, but at the time she didn't have children. It did change slightly when she did finally have a child, but she didn't give a damn that you had a family.
Yes.
It was not on her, and it's something we're really conscious of in the market centre, you know, when we're structuring power ups in the mornings and it's around school pickup times, making sure that it works for everyone.
Yeah. And that's
with that consideration in mind, because we're you know, it's something that I've experienced through my whole career.
Yeah,
So.
I think I know you've always said that for a long time, that you missed out on Jessie's
I definitely did.
childhood because you're working, and actually whilst I'm doing, you know, I feel like I'm benefiting through your experience, but also, you know, my parents will say your childhood just kind of, we didn't really see the milestones, you know, now they're grandparents and they're seeing Izzy develop, but they were in busy jobs, back late, long hours in the office. That was kind of how it
doesn't have to be like that anymore. The whole world has changed.
Exactly.
You know, everything we do, you buy your clothes on the internet. Your grocery shopping is done on the internet. You know, it gone are the days where the high street is the centre of everything.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore.
Yes.
And I think it's evolved. And I think COVID did play a part.
Yeah, a massive part.
I think it accelerated it hugely.
In actually us all placing our families as a more central part of our lives, because we were all at home together.
Yes.
And
changes the perspective.
Many families,
Yeah.
most families have never had that time together.
Yeah.
And my daughter said something to me, and it was very recent. She said, "Mum, you're a much nicer person now." That makes me a bit emotional just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that sums
Mum,
it
you're
up.
a much nicer person now.
Yeah, I think
Because I'm not as stressed and constantly on the phone and
or
constantly
flying out the door.
flying out the door, or like I'm present. So that.
Yeah, I think that's just going back to the way people operate now, and that's why this model is gaining traction, because people don't shop for clothes necessarily in store.
Would you buy a house looking in a shop window?
No.
No.
You know, it's all app based, it's all online search, it's the way we search for houses has changed so much. It's not I will go and register with, you know, all the agents in town. That whole we've got a database of buyers it doesn't work. It's irrelevant now.
Last year.
Because everyone, your search starts online.
Yes.
So actually, you don't need a high street office. I don't have one. Actually, someone asked me the other day, she said, "Oh, where's your office?" I said, "Well, it's actually in my house."
Yeah, but
Is that okay? Does it change anything? Like, I'm still here. And I think, the way we operate as a society, our convenience, our drive for convenience, it's almost lending itself for this style of agency. And the beauty is, we're not big corporates, so we can pivot really quickly.
Yes.
You know, we're not caught up in lots of corporate red tape, you know, which for them it's necessary, like these huge corporations. But for us, we're doing things by the book, but there's only us, and we can pivot really quickly. So we can almost...
Prime example of that was dealing with an applicant yesterday wanting to view a property, and the only time they could do is when they've finished work.
Yes.
And the earliest they could be there was about 6:30. Is there any chance you can do that? Of course.
Yeah,
no problem.
you've got that flexibility to do that.
And they were like,
over the weekend.
"You're the first agent that's ever been..."
Or Sunday viewings.
Yes. Unheard of, right?
So
but
I
that's
always
the day you have off. So
people always say to me, "It's brilliant. You on a
They're
Sunday."
so shocked.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, no problem."
Yes.
But it doesn't matter if I'm out for the morning or out for the afternoon, I work my diary around. Obviously, running the market centre, I've got things in my diary that are a little bit more than most agents, but I can be so flexible and adaptable. And I love that.
Yeah.
And it's made a big difference to my home life.
Yes.
And the other thing I love, as a working mum, my wash basket is never overflowing anymore.
That's brilliant.
Because in the day you can
Yes.
just put a load on, hang it out, put another load on. It's never overflowing. That used to be my biggest bugbear. You'd come home from work and the wash basket would just be this mound, and you just look at it and I can't actually face that. So that's been a massive transition for me.
Is that the moral of the story? Become a self-employed agent and your washing is on point.
So brings me to the final, last little comment. What would you recommend for someone that's on the cusp of thinking they want to move over to self-employed, but they're a little bit unsure? Tip for them, both of you.
Yeah, for me, like start planning before you take the leap.
Okay.
So give yourself a timeline. Look at it's so important to look at your household budget and know that you're going to be okay for potentially 6 months. Like
if being self-sufficient in that time while you're building your business.
Have a safety pot that you know is there just for the next 6 months, 6 to 9 months maybe, that you can still put food on the table. And it seems silly, but when I decided to do this, my husband and I sat down and we were like, right, let's
what does this really mean?
Because guess what? Nursery fees.
Yeah, they don't change.
Ouch. But it's like, okay, what does that look like? What do I need to bring to the table every month to be able to make this happen? And like, make sure you're on the same side and that everyone's happy, but plan it in. So don't just leap. Don't take the leap without a safety net, because it is really hard graft, and you do in the beginning you have the anxiety of not potentially earning.
Yes.
But if you've planned it and you and your family are all on the same page, then you can then you spend less energy worrying about,
that makes
oh my
sense.
God, I've got to pay the mortgage this month and the nursery bill and X, Y, and Z. So my biggest tip is investigate it, talk to people that have done it, and just plan it in. Don't just kind of flip the switch and dive.
I think that's a great point. I think even from my perspective, when I very first set up Oxygen, I remember sitting down and, I'm on my own, so I don't have another income coming in.
Very daunting.
It was very daunting. And I sat down and I went through my expenses, and it was things like, I got rid of Sky that was costing me 140 quid a month.
Yes.
And I got a Fire Stick and I haven't missed it once. And I literally shaved everything so that I knew I had a certain period of time where I didn't have to fret.
Yes.
And obviously then COVID hit, and that was very scary because I thought that was going to shorten things, but actually it didn't. So plan.
Yes.
Work with your market centre, for example. Like when a new agent joins, I spend a lot of time business planning with them. These are the things you've got to take action on to make sure they happen in order to guarantee your first income's going to hit your bank account here.
Yes.
So I think planning is
the key.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for watching. We hope you found it useful, and stay tuned for some more episodes.